Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. All right, this weekend, I think we're going to try to install the hydraulic clutch master cylinder onto the firewall, and we're just going to have to see how well that goes. And this little shop is getting pretty crowded, and we're going to have to start putting this engine together pretty daggum soon. I'm going to lose my mind. Man, we got stuff everywhere. It's just getting out of control. All right, and this is what we got this weekend. Okay, this is our goal. We are going to install the hydraulic clutch master cylinder, fluid reservoir, and I think this is, I'm not sure what this, I don't think this goes to this. That might go under the, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about it right now. We'll read the instructions later. And then we got the rod here. This is gonna replace the rod that's in the car currently, and this right here is going to be the bane of my existence. This is going to be a challenge. Got the V4 camera out, been doing some investigative stuff underneath the dash, and I want to be able to just kind of reach up underneath there and know precisely what I need to disconnect in order to get the stock rod out of the car, because there's not a lot of room underneath there. You're just going to break your back getting underneath there. So anyway, we want to avoid all of that. And this guy here, this part threads into that right there, and there's a little stop nut, and basically you're going to adjust the length of this thing on this threaded shaft here, and then you have this, this is called a shoulder bolt. Thus it has a shoulder on it right here, as you can tell. Slips through there. Got this spacer, and then you have a washer and a nylock nut. And I'm assuming all of this affair goes through the hole in the clutch pedal, but we'll figure that out later. The first thing on the agenda is to get that stock clutch rod out of the car. And let's go ahead and dive into that right now. All right, step one, remove that air conditioning duct. This pipe there goes on the back side of that vent, and that just slips back and down and out. It's not a huge deal, so that comes right out. So let's see what we can see under the dash. And of course, it's way, there it is. Here's the clutch pedal. Follow that up, and you see where the clutch arm connects to it, and there is the clip that we saw in the V4 film earlier. So I got to figure out a way to get up in there and pull that out of there. I got my trusty bent screwdriver. I'm going to try this first and see how well that goes. All right, it suddenly dawned on me that there was no reason to save this little piece of bent wire. I suppose if I ever wanted it again, I could rebend it to the shape it was in its stock form. But I tell you what, the coolest thing I ever saw, Jeff Bradshaw over at Elderly Iron showed me this in one of his videos. It didn't show me, he showed everybody. Get an old crappy screwdriver, put a torch on the end, and bend a crook on the end. It has 1,000,001 uses. It is just fantastic. So what a great tool. All right, let me see if I can slip that rod out of the clutch pedal and pull that OEM rod out of there. All right, there we go. There's the clip. It wasn't a huge deal, really. I suppose if you're just doing maintenance and you just wanted to yank it out of there, you could rebend it and put it back in later instead of trying to pull it out in the precise manner. That's just silly, because it goes through that part of this goes through a little hole in the end of that shaft on the clutch pedal, so I have to keep that in mind. There was just a washer, and then there was a spacer there. Had some grease on it. And here is the big honking, that is a very substantial clutch pedal. I mean, this thing means business. That's what's left of the rubber boot that goes into the firewall. It covers the hole going into the firewall. And then the clutch connection here to the OEM. All this stuff, every single solitary thing associated with the clutch on this car is going to be scrapped, except for the clutch pedal itself. SST sent me this. They sent me the shoulder bolt style, they called it in their instruction manual. And I guess this little bit here, this rotating bit, is a clevis. I think that's the proper word for it. So let's take this stuff out of here like this. This is for if the clutch pedal has a hole in it. Mine doesn't have a hole in it, it has a shaft. That means that hopefully we'll get lucky and that shaft will go in that hole. Are those the same size? I'm going to make an assumption that says this one is wallowed out quite a bit. It was pretty wobbly, and they look to be about the same size. Matter of fact, this one looks a little bit bigger. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay here. When I say I think in videos, that it always comes back to bite me. But I think really all we need to do is put this up in there, slip this over that shaft, and then put this little clip back over it, and maybe this little washer. Put this over the shaft, put the washer over it, and maybe the spacer. Not sure, not really sure. Maybe this will go in there as well. We'll have some sort of combination of parts here, but I don't think the shoulder bolt and the this nylock nut are going to come in handy. I think we're just going to stick with just these parts here. So anyway, let me figure that out. We'll see how well that goes, and we'll try to get this new clutch rod installed. All right, I think I got something figured out here. Here's the new clutch rod. I think it should fit fine over the shaft that's on the clutch pedal. And this 5/16 bolt slips right in there just like that. And slips right in the old one as well. Slips through everything. So I think we should have no problems with that. I think the folks at SST obviously put a lot of thought into this. So I'm always paranoid about stuff, you know, not working quite right. Look, the 78 Corvette has some weird crap about it, okay? There's some strange shit for 78. There's some one-off stuff that only lasted a year or two in the late 70s for Corvette, so I'm really paranoid. Also, this funky clip, which is not even spring steel, it's just a regular wire they bent up and put in there. I found one in this kit I got at O'Reilly, spring clips and roll pins and whatnot. I thought about using a cotter pin, but then I thought, well, that's aluminum, I'm thinking, so I'm not going to use that. I think it might break later on. And it's the clutch. If it slips off, you're screwed. You're done, right? You can't go anywhere. So I found this one steel clip here, same size as the wire on the original, and it goes over that 5/16 bolt real easily, so I think this clip right here will do us well. Don't think we're going to need this brand new spacer that came with this shoulder bolt. I think we'll just use the spacer, the original spacer and the original washer, and that rod and that clip right there, and I think that's all we're going to need. So let me get underneath the dash, put this crap together. All right, that's what she looks like right up in there. I got a washer on the inside, a washer on the outside, and a clip on the ends there, so it shouldn't go anywhere. And the new rod is going through the firewall, so let's move on to the exterior, I think. All right, let's go ahead and get this stock cover off. First bolt dropped into the abyss and have no idea where it went. Awesome. They're just self-tappers, 5/16 head. All right, drop the second one as well. That's what the stock flange looks like. And of course, the boot is broken off there. All right, so there's the hole, and you can see the end of the new control rod or clutch rod, whatever you want to call it, sticking out right there. It's just kind of dangling, hanging on the edge there. So this is the new master cylinder. According to the directions for a Corvette, this thing has to be positioned onto the firewall so that these ports are, I guess, tilted slightly to the driver's side of the car, and that is to facilitate this shaft in the master cylinder falling into a direct line with the shaft going to the clutch pedal. The point being, you don't want to have an angled side load on this. It needs to be perfectly straight when the clutch is operated. You'll wear the clutch out immediately, or really quickly if you don't do this. So, all right, so the way this works here is you have this bracket they just attached it loosely. So this bracket right here, the silver thing, it will go inside the car on the other side of the firewall. And then there's a gasket here that will go against the, on the outside. And then of course everything here stays in the engine compartment. So, all right, here we are. We're back. I spent all day yesterday and half of today, most of today, pissing in the wind, trying to install the master cylinder upside down. It's like this on a Corvette. You see this angle? That's angled back that way. It's got this single hole right here and it's angled back. This is upside down. Okay, if this angle is angled back, it's upside down. It's supposed to be like this. And your master cylinder will bolt up like this, exactly like the instructions said, with the ports. So this hole here lines up with all of the ports, okay? Exactly like the instructions said, the ports will be slightly pointed off towards the driver's side. Also, these holes here align perfectly with the stock holes where the stock cover went. There's 3 holes here in the firewall where the stock cover went for the, it was a boot that covered up the clutch rod that came out of here, right? So these holes line up perfectly with those holes in the firewall, and there's no reason to do anything else but answer the phone. Hello. All right, that was Dad. He just needed a little bit of computer technical support, so I think we got him squared away. I'll probably have to run down there and take care of a few things for him, you know. But let's see. This is 24, so he'll be 95 in, yeah, this fall he'll be 95. And he's still trying to do things on the computer at that age, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, so let's get back to what we're doing here. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, pretty much I tried to install this damn thing upside down all weekend long, because I'm an idiot. I think at one point I had taken this mount block off of the master cylinder and was fiddling around with it, and I think I put it on backwards, you know. And I read the instructions. The instructions said, make sure the ports are pointed towards the driver's side. Well, if this thing is upside down, all right, I had to turn my fan on. Getting a little warm in here. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, I spent all weekend long trying to install this damn thing upside down. It was a total fiasco. I got probably 10 or 12 minutes of edited video of me fiddling with this thing and doing everything completely and utterly wrong. So I'm just going to scrap it. Basically, you got 3 stock holes here. They're going to line up with these 3 holes in this thing. You see how it's angled off like that, and with this single hole here, that's upside down. It's supposed to be like that, okay? And this, so that this, the angle of this is down. This is supposed to point towards the ground, basically. It's not supposed to point straight out like that. Okay, this hole here is supposed to point towards the ground. So you slip it up there, you bore out these 3 stock holes to 3/8 inch, and then you bolt this to the firewall, and then run your master cylinder and your rod up inside the car and bolt everything together. And that's pretty much it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I got JB Weld firming up in these holes right here that I erroneously drilled earlier like an idiot. So up next, I'm going to finish boring out the 3 stock holes from the original bracket, and then I'm going to bolt this up to the car, and then I'm going to finish this hydraulic cylinder installation, hopefully. Oh yeah, and I went ahead and removed the master cylinder. It was just, I didn't want to remove any of the brake stuff, but it was just because I hate bleeding brakes. It just, anyway, you get it. So anyway, it was just in the way, and I had to get rid of it. So anyway, it's sitting over there on the ground. I left the lines connected to it, so I won't have to fool with that. All right, So let me go ahead and bore these holes out. I'll be back here in a minute. All right, we got this thing mounted up in here finally. You can see the angles pointed slightly downward. I got these 3 bolts tightened down. I think the instruction set is like 15 foot-pounds, just kind of really good and snug. There's lock washers on there, and there's steel on either side, sandwiched with fiberglass and the steel plating inside the car, all in between there. So it's, you know, it's really solid. So anyway, up next, let's go ahead and get the clutch master cylinder inserted up in there, and let's get it bolted up. All right, I'm glad I took the brake master cylinder out, because that was a pain dealing with that. So we should be coming in right there on the driver's side of the clutch pedal. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just bolt this up here loosely, and then I'm going to go into the car and hook it up to the brake pedal the way you saw earlier in the video, and then I'll tighten these up, and then we'll test it. How about that? All right, I'll be right back. Let's see if we can get you a clear shot here. So that clutch rod meets up with the rod in the master cylinder real nicely, and I've got it reconnected up here to the clutch pedal. Got the little pin in there and the washers in there, and of course it operates very nicely indeed. So I really like that. It's going to save my knee in the long run, that's for sure. There's a little stop bolt right there. I need to tighten that up a little bit, and I think I'm just about done. You want to make sure that you're fully extended. The goal is to make sure that the clutch pedal, or that the clutch master cylinder rod is fully extended at all times. In other words, you don't want it to be down like that, right? That'd be silly. You'd be riding the clutch all the time. It needs to be fully extended, and it is, so we're good. All right, last thing we're going to do here is mount up this hydraulic clutch fluid reservoir. Is that French? Sounds French. Reservoir. The instructions said something about utilizing existing mounting bolts over there near the brakes. Let's go pick up our broken reservoir. If I was a reservoir, where would it be? There it is. I reckon we can start over. It's a dainty little thing, isn't it? Let's just put that back there. So, all right, so here's the deal. There's no room to put it here. So I did find this exceptionally fantastic looking blank spot right here for mounting this fluid reservoir, which begs the question, why didn't they do this at the factory? I don't know. I mean, look, that's like meant for that. Of course, after I bolt it, there'll be something that goes in the engine bay that needs that space. But for right now, it looks pretty good, you know what I'm saying? So we got this hefty steel bracket, and we're gonna drill a couple. We're gonna mark these 2 bolt holes here and those bolts there, hold this thing up, and all we gotta do is use that as a template, mark a couple of holes, and get the drill out. That shouldn't take but a couple minutes, so let's get after it. I got 5 holes in this thing, so I guess these 2 here will go through there on the top, and I'll probably just use 1 more down below here. Let's make sure this bracket fits in that area. Pretty much takes up the entire landscape. We don't really need all that. It's a pretty lightweight item here, you know. And this is, we can just lop that off and just get rid of this one. We can have 3, that'll be fine. Let me go over here to the metal saw and zip, I'm gonna zip that off right there. I don't really need that part. All right, there you go. I lopped it off and ground it down smooth there. And we're back here at the mobile paint booth. So let me go ahead and get a primer coat on this thing, and then a black of engine gloss, and then we're gonna bolt it to the car. All right, while the paint's drying, let's figure out how we're gonna mount this thing up here. So your eyeballs look at this line right here. If I'm just sitting right here, that looks like perfect, right? Well, and the camera over there, I'd imagine this thing looks like it's tilted down this way, because this line obviously is not horizontal to the ground. So we're going to do it this way. Get ourselves a nice even surface here. And while it may not look level in the eyes of the vehicle, it will be level in the eyes of gravitational pull of the earth. I'm gonna need a better pen. Let me get a white pen. That damn paint's just gonna run everywhere. So we'll aim, including all over my hand. This is a crappy paint pen. Regardless though, we can aim for the top of the line. Even though the paint's running down, we can aim for the top and it'll be fine. It'll be close enough. I think this calls for the step bit, only because it's my new favorite thing. Boy, it makes quick business of that fiberglass, that's for sure. Drilling holes in Corvettes might be habit forming, I'm not sure. You guys let me know if you've ever experienced anything like that. Never thought I'd see the day. Man, I was so anal about even trying to keep this car original back in the day when I first bought it, because it only had 9,800 miles on it when I got it. So it was like, basically, it was like a brand new car. But that was a very long time ago. All right, so we gave our paint the obligatory 5 minutes to dry. And I think we'll go with that. Funny thing happened while I was painting this black, that Duplicolor black. Actually, it's been in the cabinet for a long time, for months and months. So I was spraying along and all of a sudden the sprayer stuck wide open. And I couldn't get it unstuck, so I finished painting this and threw the rest in the trash can. It's probably still spraying. But nice way to waste $12, I guess. All right, so I forgot about the other hole. I got to drill that third hole for that bracket. This is way, way, way overkill, but it'll be all right. All right, so let's do some stuff here. That through there. That's gonna be a tight fit. Now you just stay right there. All right, got that up there. So I've got a couple of lock nuts here. This is just it's fiberglass, so I don't know how thick it is. What is that? Let's see. Let's take a look. It's probably 3/16, something like that. But I'm going to put another flat washer on the back side. Now let's make sure the bottom one will line up. Let me enlarge that hole a little bit. Let's elongate it a little bit. That should do it. Yep, that bolt goes in there nicely. The lower bolts are 5/16. It's a little bigger. Kit didn't come with that one. I think the kit assumed that you were going to reuse bolts from some other bracketry on the car, so I'm not going to go crazy right now and tighten that down with wrenches. That's good enough. Fit this into place just for looks. There's our return line, because I'm sure I'll have to make adjustments when I install this thing I'm sure I'll have to make adjustments when I install everything permanently. So for right now, I'm just gonna get it on there loosely. Have that come up through there like that. I'm sure that goes like that, ish. I'll probably have to do a little hose routing in the future. All right, there you go, one reservoir mounted up to the Corvette. I think we're done with that little piece. Okay, folks, I think we're done for the weekend. The weekend was a struggle, for real. However, I do have a little something in my own self-defense. If you look in my previous video where I unboxed the Silver Sport transmission and looked at all of the bits and pieces, I went back and looked at that video, and when I removed the hydraulic clutch master cylinder from the wrappings, in the video I noticed that the master cylinder was bolted, albeit loosely, to the mounting block, the black part, backwards. Okay, it was 180 degrees out. It should have been flipped around. Now, it probably would work for other vehicles, but for this Corvette, it doesn't work like that. I thought to myself, I said, I thought maybe I removed it and I put it back incorrectly. I was like, surely that's probably what I did, but I don't think that's the case. I looked back at the video and I got that stuff out of the box for the first time, and that mount block was mounted to that hydraulic clutch master cylinder 180 degrees out, so that it was pointed up as opposed to down. And I just assumed that that's the way it was. I've never done this before. Never done this before in my life. Never installed a hydraulic clutch. Didn't know anything. I didn't even know how a hydraulic clutch worked. You know, I take that at face value. You know, I take it out of the box. Oh, this must be the part. You put it on the car. Let's make it work. You know, but that wasn't the case. It simply was put together incorrectly. Now, anybody who had probably done this before could have probably looked at it and go, oh, that's wrong. Let's flip that around and put it on the car, and they wouldn't thought anything about it. But I struggled for a couple of days trying to make that work, and finally went inside, sat down, and took a break, and I got to thinking about the geometry of this thing, and it's like, this cannot be right. And it dawned on me, maybe that thing needs to be turned around. And I did that, and it fit like a glove, just like it was meant to be. It was fantastic. And once I put it in there, everything works beautifully. The product is great. So I don't have any problems with the product. Don't think I'm dissing anybody at SST. I'm not, okay? It's just a little complication. You know, the mount block needs to be mounted to the master cylinder correctly for the application at hand. So that's all I'm going to say about that. We got our goal accomplished. The hydraulic clutch master cylinder is mounted on the car and connected to the pedal. And we also have our reservoir mounted to the firewall, and basically the return line loosely attached. And of course, we obviously cannot complete or continue with the installation until we get the engine and the transmission installed in the vehicle. So this is where we're going to leave this for this weekend. All right, everybody, I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys have a good one, and remember to enjoy restoring your classic C3 Corvette.